Hello, listeners. Today is January 31st, and this is a Garden a Day with Maidenbrock Gardens. Today's garden has been named one of the best places to visit in Utah, and I'm going to guess that much of this place is a mystery to most of our listeners. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll find out. So where are we? We are at the Gardens at Temple Square in Salt Lake City, Utah. The gardens at Temple Square cover 35 acres that include Temple Square, the Conference Center, and the headquarters of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. In 1847, Brigham Young led thousands of Mormons into the Salt Lake Valley in what is today Utah. Soon after their arrival, they began planting trees and shrubs, hoping to fulfill the prophet Isaiah's vision that the desert shall rejoice and blossom as the rose. Architect Joseph Don Carlos Young, son of Brigham Young, was the church architect from 1887 to 1893. He designed the interior of the temple as well as the general landscape for Temple Square. His design reflected the late Victorian style that was popular at the time. He also designed a greenhouse that grew the plants for the square. There are no greenhouses at Temple Square today, but the church does operate 4 greenhouses off-site to grow all of the plants needed in the garden. The gardens contain more than 250 flower beds with over 165,000 bedding plants and includes more than 700 varieties of plants from more than 100 countries around the world. The Conference Center is topped by a rooftop garden planted with only herbaceous perennials and woody plants that represent the mountains and valley of the Great Salt Lake region. The garden includes more than 60 different species of native wildflowers and 25 different native grasses. The rooftop gardens span 4 acres. Through the years, the Temple Square gardens have seen many changes. Elm trees were planted in 1893 that are still growing there today. In the 1940s, additional trees were planted in the garden. One notable tree is a cedar of Lebanon, located near the east gate to Temple Square. By the 1970s, a more informal garden design was preferred. Some of the formal plantings were removed, and a greater variety of plants and colors were introduced. The gardens are refreshed every 6 months thanks to volunteers and 7 full-time gardeners. Gardening styles and arrangements often change as well. From tossing seeds to affect a natural flow, to intentional planting based on height and seasonal growth, the gardens are sure to delight with their ever-changing appearance. Visitors might see any style of garden, from English cottage to native desert. The garden is free and open to the public. Guided tours are available. One note before you go, the temple is currently under renovation. The gardens remain open for visitors, but portions of the garden might be closed at times for the renovation. Well, that's about it for today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Join me tomorrow to see where we're going next. If you like a garden a day, please consider liking, following, or subscribing to the podcast. It lets you know when a new episode is available, and it lets me know you like the show. Also, if you're able, please consider giving the show a 5-star review. I really do appreciate it. If all goes well, I'll be right back here tomorrow. See you then.